Hey everyone, it's me, Tanya, with All Things Dazzle. So glad to be back here with another tutorial for you guys. If you are new to my channel, thank you so very much for stopping by. I hope that the information that I will share with you will be helpful for you on your rhinestone journey. If you are a subscriber of mine already, thank you. Welcome back. You know how I do. This is just a real life, right, workflow. I don't have pretty mocked up background and workplace area to show you. I just come on and talk to you guys about how I use Silhouette Studio to create the rhinestone designs that I create. And I hope that in doing so, that helps you learn how to better use the software so that you can create your own designs. Okay. So I thought I would come on or I'm thinking about starting a series of, just kind of watch me work, where I work on various designs that that I'm either working on or I have been asked to do something custom with, and let you guys just watch me work through the process. So I thought come on tonight because I have a custom order and just show you what it is that I do. Okay. So let me go out. I'm going to share my screen with you. And again, I work in Silhouette Studio. I have the business edition and I am using software version 5.0. Okay. So I have a customer who had requested, she sent me a design and she wanted it to be this particular design, okay, for her sororities chapter. And she wanted to add bling to it, okay? So in the original design, this was filled in, and but what I did was I removed the inside part of the design so that I could overlay the rhinestones in this open area for her shirt. So she showed the design to someone else and they decided that they wanted it for their chapter. So I'm going to show you how I get the design into this state. And maybe that will be helpful for you in something that you need to work on. This is going to be a DTF print, and rhinestones, at least I haven't had as much success in making the rhinestones stick to the surface of the DTF print. So the best way I know how is to remove the parts of the design where the rhinestones will go to make sure that they stay adhered to the garment. So like I said, this was the old one. And here is the requested for my new customer. Okay, so here's the design. Again, I took the original design and brought it into ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to change out the Greek letters, and it did so perfectly. Then I took the design into Canva. I have Canva Pro, and I had Canva remove the background. Okay, so after we did all of that, this is what I'm left with. And now my goal is to remove the inside pink portion of this graphic so that I can then use that empty section for the rhinestones. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the trace panel feature of the software. Okay, it is, you can access it up here on the main toolbar in panels if you go to trace, or your shortcut icons over here on the right hand side of the screen. You can go to the fourth icon from the top and click on trace. Okay, so I've clicked on trace, and I am going to use the trace by color option. Okay, to get to the trace by color option, you're going to click this second icon over here with the eyedropper tool. Okay, and when you click on it, you see it now says trace by color. The first one said trace by area. This eyedropper tool allows you to trace by a specific color. So I'm going to click trace by color. Okay, so my mouse, when I click it, is going to go from a cursor to this pencil. And hopefully you can kind of see that. I guess it's either a pencil or an eyedropper. I'm going to take that and I'm going to place it over the color that I want to trace. Okay, so I'm looking to trace the pink area. Actually, yes, I want to trace this pink area. Okay, so I'm going to click on the pink. Okay, and it picks up a portion of the pink. Now I want it to pick up all of the pink. Okay, so I'm going to click this button over here. I'm going to go back over here to the panel and I'm going to click all areas. Well, actually, I'm going to do single area. Okay, I'm just going to do it multiple. No, wait a minute. Yes, I'm going to do single area and I'm going to increase my tolerance. Okay, because I want all of this area to turn yellow. So let me zoom in. Okay, so I've zoomed in for you and I'm going to now turn up the tolerance. Okay. And the reason I'm not going to do all areas is because I don't want to select everything that's in pink because there's a lot of pink in this design. And when we get to the next step after we do the trace, there's going to be a lot of leftover residual things to clean up. So I'm thinking if I do it this way individually, it would take less time. So again, I'm going to turn up the tolerance. Okay, you can click on this button right here and slide. Okay, use your slider to increase it until you have turned all of the pink area yellow. Okay, and I'm going to keep going. Okay, so that's too much. Okay, 61% tolerance is too much because now it's trying to pick up parts of the outside. So I'm going to use the arrows, which are going to give me smaller incremental changes. So I'm going to use the down arrow to bring the tolerance down. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down until I'm only picking up that inside pink area. Okay, so it looks like 56, 57, 58, 59. Okay, so at 59, at 60%, it's picking up some little areas in here. So I'm going to take it down a little bit. Okay, so it looks like 57% is about where we need to be. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click trace. Okay, and when it's done, it will revert back to the original image. And I'm just going to show you quickly what we were left with. So if I just zoom out and I move the graphic out of the way, as you see, this is the part of the trace that we left, and this is what we want. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm just going to do an undo. I'm going to put that back where it was, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the next letter. So I'm going to again click trace by color. I'm going to go over here and do this one, and we're going to repeat my steps. I'm going to click all areas. I'm sorry, not all areas. I'm going to leave it on single area and I'm going to increase the tolerance. Okay. I'm going to start with the slide and see how far we get. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see. Move that over. And let's just see how much we need to go. Okay, so at 69, that's too much. Sorry, I'm going in the, actually, to be honest with this one, this is exactly where I need to be. Let me see. I actually do want this white, actually. That's really what I want. Okay, I'm gonna increase this tolerance because, okay, so that's too much, but I do want that because I want to go as far out to the outer edge of the, so this is really what I want. That looks pretty good. Bring it down just a little bit, just to try to clean it up, to clean up the edges a little. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and click trace. Okay. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna see if I can remove, hmm, I'll come back to it. Let's do this other one again. Let's do this symbol again. I want to see what happens if I take the trace all the way up to the, like I just did this last one. So I'm going to click trace by color, doo-doo, click, and turn up the tolerance and see if I can get that to do the same thing. Let's see. Yes, that is what I want. That's at 68%. See. Oh, okay, so that's too much. Bring that down. Okay, 89%. Nope, 93 is too much. Okay, we're gonna try 91% and see what that leaves us with when we're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and click trace. Okay, and then I'm gonna come over here and do the E. So I'm gonna click trace by color and turn up my tolerance. Oh, that's too much. Let's see. Okay, 91, 92, 93. 93 is about, I think, as far as we can go with that one. And I'm going to go ahead and click trace. Okay, so now that I have all three of the letters traced, I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to move the graphic away so that you can see what was left behind. Okay, so I'm going to move this graphic out of the way. Okay, and remember the reason that this one is doubled is because we had already completed the trace. And then we went back and we completed the trace a second time. So I have two traces here. So I'm just going to remove the one that I don't need. Okay, so I'm taking out the one that I don't need and I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Okay, so this is what we got. And this is exactly what I want. Okay, so I'm going to double click on it and I'm just going to kind of simplify the nodes a little bit. Okay, just clean them up. So you double click, it brings up the nodes or the point editing tool panel. And this is where you can adjust if you have dirty edges and things that need to be cleaned up. You can adjust the nodes. I start out by simplifying them, just making them less. And then if I need to go in and make some additional edits, I can do that later. But right now I'm just cleaning them up and reducing the number of nodes in the design. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in so that you can see it. Okay, that looks pretty good. The edges look nice and clean. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back out and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to drag out a box and select all three of them. And I'm going to go ahead and group them together so that they don't move. Okay, they all stay together. And then I'm just going to give it a color. Okay, I'm going to give it a color so that there's a contrast between the original image and what I have traced. Okay, so I'm just going to, now let's not make it green, let's make it orange. So I made it orange. And now I'm going to bring my design that I've just kind of put over there to the right. I'm just going to bring it back to the mat. Okay. And I'm just going to overlay the trace over the design. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that we can see, make sure that we are lined up properly. Okay. And we are slightly off. So I'm going to click on my trace and I'm going to just use my arrows keys to try to line that back up as best as possible. Okay. And one thing that I notice I'm going to have to do is this piece right in here. Like, I don't think we have this. Um, and maybe we don't need it. I'll determine that in just a minute. But anyway, so I've got my design. You see it. I'm going to try to zoom it in just a little bit more. Okay. And you see how everything is lined up. I'm covering up all of the pink. And I'm still leaving this outer edge of the design that I want, because I just want the stones to be this part right here, this orange is what I'm going to use as my stone overlay once we get everything where we want it to be. So let's see, let me zoom out. Okay. This design right now is about 10 inches wide by 6.743 inches in height. That is about the size that I use for my the size shirts that I'm going to use for small, medium, large, extra large. And then I'm going to increase the design for the larger shirts that I use. But for now, we have what we need. And so what I'm going to do is I've got my design, my actual design is highlighted, right? And you know it's highlighted because there's a box around the entire design. And the second thing I want to do is I want to hold down my shift key and then I want to click on my trace, which is the orange section, right? So I'm going to click on that and there is a box. Faintly, can't see it. Maybe you can see the line right in here, but there is now a box around that. So you have two boxes. Okay. I'm going to come over here to the right-hand side of the screen and I'm going to open up the modify panel. Okay. And the modify panel is the one with the rectangle and the circle. Okay. I'm going to click on that and then I'm going to click subtract all, right? Because I want to subtract out all of this orange area from this the back from this design. So I'm going to click subtract all. Okay. And once I do that, I can move the orange area away. And as you can see, what was the pink that was originally in here is now gone. Okay, and that's what we want because for this particular design, we want the outside. So see how we now have that open space? And that is the space that we want for our rhinestones to go into once we turn this image into a DTF. Okay, so I've got my image. I've got it sized where I want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make two before I create the rhinestone portion because I need two images in two different sizes for the project that I'm going to be working on. So I'm just going to go back and do my undo for a minute. Okay, I'm going to put that back, but I've already done the subtract. So I'm going to drag a box. Okay, making sure that I grab both the graphic and the orange area. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and size that out to about 13 inches. Okay. Because that's what I'm going to use for my 2XL and larger shirt. Okay. So I'm going to, okay. And about 13 inches. Uh, Actually, okay, so I have that one, and I'm going to make a duplicate. Okay, and I'm going to just drag that one off to the side. So now I have the one for 13 inches, and here's my one at 10. I'm going to take this one back down to 10 inches. Okay, I should have made a copy first and then sized that one, but I didn't. But that's okay. I can take this back. Oh, Tanya. Okay, let's bring this back down. This was 10 inches. Okay, 10.026. That's fine. Okay, so now I have my two images. I have my, so let's work with the first one. Okay, so this part's gonna be really easy. If I move away the trace, okay, I'm just left with the graphic. Okay, so I can do this two ways. Okay, I can either take my orange area and go over here to the rhinestone panel and turn on my radial fill. Okay, see what that looks like. I'm going to use SS10 rhinestones. Okay, so I'm going to click on my 10s, and I'm going to decrease my spacing between the rhinestones to 0.020. That is my preferred distance spacing. But as you can see, what that does is that somewhat sets the rhinestones over the top of the DTF print. Okay. Some of them are inside. I mean, some of them will be sitting on the fabric, but some of them will be sitting on the DTF, and I don't want that. Okay. I want as many of the rhinestones to be sitting on the fabric. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to zoom back out. Okay. And I'm also going to look at this before I do it. I'm going to see what this looks like in my radial fill. Okay. And the radial fill gives me a much better and even coverage so that I don't have to do too much manipulating to the rhinestone. So that's the one that we're going to go with. We're going to use the we're going to use the linear fill for this particular design. But again, like I said, this is too large. Okay. So we can do two things. I'm going to go back and turn the rhinestone effect off. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay. And I'm going to see what happens when I create an offset. Okay. I'm going to click on my graphic. I'm going to go over here to the offset panel, and I'm going to click offset. Okay. Now, when I create the offset, as you can see, because we have empty space, it will try to fill in that empty space. Okay. And so now we can see how this design would line up. So again, I'm going to increase this space. I'm going to increase the distance. Let's go. Let's see. Is it? I got a lot of stuff going on right now, so my computer resources are acting a little wonky. So let me try this again. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to see if we can open up the trace panel again. I mean, the offset panel again. Click offset. Okay. And I think, let's see. Oh, not tonight, machine. Not tonight, computer. Oops, that's not what I wanted to delete. Okay. Let's try it a different way. The computer is not happy right the moment. I think I have a lot of windows open behind me, and computer's been up all day. So let me try something else. Let me try doing it this way. So here's the trace that we did. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to click my offset again. And well, let me turn this a different color. Let me turn this into a lighter color. And I'm going to turn off this outline. Okay, so I'm going to open up the offset panel. And this time, instead of doing a offset, and the second way you can do this is to create an internal offset. Okay, so I want the internal pieces of the letters, the Greek letters. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to distance space this out to probably 0.045 is where I'm going to start. Okay, so that's just kind of right on the edge of the graphic. And I'm going to go ahead and say apply. Okay, and then I'm going to move this piece out of the way. Okay, just move it up here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to group them all together. So I drag the box around all of them, right click and click group. And now I'm going to open up the rhinestone panel again over here on the right. It is the fifth icon from the bottom, but you can also access it from this very top toolbar. You click on panels and click on rhinestones. Okay, so I'm going to click on my rhinestone panel. Remember, again, we're using SS10 rhinestones. We've determined that we're going to use the linear fill, and I have a distance of my spacing set to 0.020. So let's go ahead and click on our internal offset and then click on the fill pattern. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a color just so that we can see it. I'll just go ahead and turn it back orange. And let's see if they fit into the space that we want them to go, and they do. Okay, so let me zoom in so that you can see that. Okay, so you see I did an internal offset of the trace that reduced the space. That reduced the size. And then we use the rhinestone panel to turn that into rhinestones. And this is what we're left with. And this is exactly what I want. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit further so you can see that the rhinestones, even though some of them are still kind of touching the edge, but the majority of the stone is on the inside portion of the graphic, which is where the fabric is going to be. And that's exactly what we want. Okay. So with that, other than a little bit of cleanup, maybe, let me see. Looking at this E, I would try to add a row of stones, maybe in here, possibly, and maybe add 2 stones right here, and probably add 2 stones. Maybe I might even add some stones. They would kind of sit on the detail, but they would still be sitting in that white area as well. So when I release the rhinestones, I probably would go ahead and fill that area in, or we can try and see what happens when we change the spacing. Let's just see if the distance between the spacing makes any difference. If we increase this to, let's say, 25, how does that change the graphic? Okay, so that that looks like that. Let's see what happens if we go to 30. If we go down a little, maybe to 18. Let's see, or take it in the opposite direction, make the distance a little bit greater, use less rhinestones. But I think for all intents and purposes, I'm going to go with the spacing of 20 because that has the most minimal amount of cleanup, and I just have to add a few stones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and release my rhinestones. Okay, so I'm going to release the rhinestones. Right down here, click release rhinestones. Okay, and then once I've released the rhinestones, the box shows up around each one of them, and now I can manually manipulate each of these stones. Okay, now if you wanted, these lines are not perfectly straight. You could come in and use your alignment tools to make some edits. I'm not going to do that. It looks okay. It looks pretty much okay. So I said I was going to add some stones right in here. So I think I'll just go ahead and I'm going to click on one of these stones. Okay, and I'm going to use my Alt key on my keyboard. I'm going to click and drag. Okay, so I just click with with my mouse and drag out another stone. We'll do it again. I'm going to click, hold my Alt key, and then left click with my mouse and drag out another stone. Okay, so we're just going to put two more stones right there. And probably go ahead and straighten that up a little bit. And then I'm going to look and see whether or not adding some stones here. So I'm going to click this one and then hold my shift key and click the ones right next to it. So I'm clicking that entire row of stones. There's 4 stones here. And then I'm just going to right click and duplicate and then add those stones right there. Okay, and we can do the same thing. We can right click and duplicate one more time, and then bring that row of stones right down here to the bottom. Line that up, and let's go over here and let's go ahead and add 2 more stones. So I'm going to, again, hold my Alt key, click and drag, hold my Alt key, click and drag. Okay, and let's look at the rest of it and see if there's anything else we want to do. Do we want to add a stone here? Let's just see. We can do that. So I clicked and dragged a stone on either side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to equal space this row right here. So I'm going to click on this left side of the stone, holding my shift key. I'm going to click all of the stones in the row. I'm going to come over here to my transform panel. Okay, and I'm going to go down here to where it says distribute, and I'm going to evenly space these stones horizontally. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to slightly shift those stones. And we're going to do the same thing with the one on the bottom, just so that those stones all line up equally. So click, holding the shift key, and then equal space horizontally. Okay. And I guess if we're going to do the same thing here, we can do the same thing at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 stones, one on either side of this row and one on the other. And then we're going to equal space them and make sure we have, so I'm going to click this, click, holding the shift key, click all of the stones in the row, and then distribute horizontally. They shifted just a little, and we'll go ahead and just do the same thing here at the Actually, we don't need to do the top row. It's already done. I'm not going to try to add a stone in here. I think it will throw off the circular pattern. So I'm going to leave that like that. And then I'm just going to come over here and check this one and see what we got going on. Let's see over here. I may move this stone just a little. And then I think I moved this stone over here just a little. And I'm going to move this stone more so onto the open area. The same with this one. And I'm going to see if I can add one more stone over here. So I'm going to click and just drag out a stone. Making sure that I leave enough space between the stones. Let's see, clean that up a little. Let's see, can we fit another stone in here? I think we can fit another stone in this row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my Alt key. I'm going to click on the stone, hold out the Alt, drag it out. Okay. And now I'm just going to click on the row. So I'm going to click on the very first stone, and I'm going to click all of the stones here in the row. And let's see what happens when we equally space those. I must have missed one. So let me go back. I did. Let me click all of the stones and then equal space horizontally. And I see what that does. That kind of takes that, well, maybe it doesn't. Okay, so we'll do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna go ahead and add a stone. This time I just clicked on it, right clicked and duplicated. But now I'm going to click and holding the shift key, click all of the stones in that row and distribute evenly. Okay. Okay, so now we fill in it. So now we're done. Let's say I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out. I'm gonna move the graphic out of the way. And that's what we're left with. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to just drag a box around all of it. I'm going to group them all together. And then I'm going to create a compound path. Okay. Now, when I create the compound path, it took away the fill color, which is fine. You don't necessarily have to have it, but if you like to see it, all you have to do is just come back, go to your paint palette. It's the second icon from the top. Okay, it's actually called the fill panel. I call it the paint palette. But you open up the fill panel and just give it a color. Okay, and I'll just turn it back orange because that's the color we were working with. And now our rhinestone overlay for this 10-inch design is done. Okay. Delete that one. And so now that this one is done, we're actually done, but I'm going to show you again the steps one more time so that you can do them for yourself. We don't need this piece right here anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So now we have our larger one. So let's go through the steps again. I'm going to turn it a lighter color so that you can see what happens. I'm going to click and open up the offset panel. So the design, the trace that we did right here, we turned it gray. I'm going to click on the offset panel and I'm going to create a internal offset. Okay. The system remembers the last internal offset that you did. Okay, so the last internal offset we did was at the spacing, a distance of 0.045. That should hold true for the same one that we just did. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to click on my rhinestone panel and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the linear fill option. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and give those a fill color. And let's just go ahead and make them a different color just because we're working with a different size. So I'll make those purple. Okay. And I'm going to just make sure and see how they fit into this space. Okay. We don't need this one anymore, or at least I don't think we will. I'm going to zoom in so that we can see what we got going on. And this is looking pretty good. I'm just going to position it where I think it needs to go. Trying to line that up so that most of those stones are in the inside area of the graphic. So I'm just using my arrow keys to make those incremental movements. And all right, so now that I have those in place where I need them to be, this one is going to require, again, very minimal cleanup. I think I'm just going to kind of straighten up the stones in this area right here. And I may add stones right here. We'll see when I release the rhinestones what that looks like. But let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and open up the rhinestone panel. Again, your fifth icon from the bottom over here on the right. On SS10 stones, I'm using my linear fill pattern, and my distance between the rhinestones is set for 0.020. So I'm going to go ahead and release the rhinestones. Okay, so we're working with this one over here first. I think we can fit a stone. The system said we couldn't, but I think we can. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to add a stone right here. Okay, so again, I've clicked on one of the holes. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and just drag out a stone. And as you can see, one does fit in there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay, and I do want to make sure that they are equally spaced. So again, I'm going to click, and then I'm going to click all of the stones in the row till I get to the end. Open up the transform panel, okay, and click the distribute horizontally. Okay, so that spaced that out. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side where we added the stone and equal space. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add two stones up here. So again, click on my stone, hold the Alt key, and just drag out a stone. Do it again, drag out a stone, and I'm going to shift this one inside just a little. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And drag out a stone. Okay, let's go to the top and let's take a look-see. Okay, so here we have these stones are somewhat touching this part of the DTF. So I think I'm going to delete them. Okay. And I'm going to shift this stone over to the edge. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other one on the other side. And I'm going to see what happens if I equal space them and how much, see if it shifts the alignment any. And if I don't like what I see, then I may just undo and put it all back. But I think that looks fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side and equal space those. Okay. And next, I'm going to just look and see. Do I want to add a stone here or here? Let's just see what it looks like. I just don't want to throw off the design. So if I add a stone here and I add a stone on the other side so that they both stay symmetrical, then I'm going to zoom out so that I can look at it and make sure that it still looks good. I think that's okay. I do think that is okay. So I am going to just make sure that I have equal spacing between each of those stones. So I'm holding I've clicked on this one, and I'm just going to click on all of them in the row. And again, I'm going to distribute them horizontally. Okay. So it looks like we're done with this one. Let's go over to the next one. I'm going to zoom out a little. Let's look at that. Okay. This one doesn't look like there's too much we need to do to it. So I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and release the rhinestones. And maybe let's just see. I'll drag out a stone like we did before and add it. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I accidentally moved it. If we add one there and then add one on the other side. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and equal space that out, make sure that for those two new stones that we added. And then look down here at the bottom and make sure that we do the same thing so that we're symmetrical on the top and the bottom. Okay, although this one, I think, this is one, I don't know that I should, let me see. I don't want to do that. I'm going to leave the bottom the way that it is because there's not enough of the area, the fabric area of the shirt for that rhinestone to sit on down here. There was more up here at this top. So I'm going to leave this row. I'm going to leave that bottom row the way that it is. So I don't need anything else to be done over here. So let's come over here to the E. Let's go ahead and release the rhinestones. Okay, and the area that I want to clean up a little bit is maybe right in here. And I might add two stones right here. So in here, I might just raise this stone up a little bit, raise that one up a little bit, and see if I can get a stone right in there. Let's see if that, okay. And I will equal space. Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think we don't. I won't equal space. Like I said, it's not that note. Well, let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and equal space it. So I'm gonna hold the shift and see if it moves the alignment too much. And this time, instead of equal spacing horizontally, I'm gonna equal space this vertically. Okay, so that's the up and down. And then I'm just going to line that up, make sure that that's straight. And we're going to do the same thing. We're gonna equal space, just gonna equal space this row out right here. Nothing really changed right there, but I did kind of move this top stone just a little bit. And I think I'm just gonna bring this one in just a little bit so that it's more in that white area. Same with that one. And let's see, right in here, let's see if we can fit two more stones. Or maybe I'll just, trying to fit one stone is going to, and that kind of, let's see. I don't know. I don't like that. I think that throws that off. So I'm going to delete that stone that I added right there. I'm going to see what happens if I move this stone up a little bit and then equal space. If that changes the alignment too much. That might be okay. Let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. And let's align these stones. Equal space. So I'm going to equal space them vertically, but then I'm also going to distribute them horizontally to get them back on their axis. And we may do a space like that. We may do one like this. We may add another stone right here. And then we're going to do like that. Just shift those in. Let's see. And again, we're going to line these stones up. So I'm going to distribute them vertically, and then I'm going to distribute them horizontally and get them on their axis. And we're going to bring this stone back in. And I am not going to, let's see, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? To do. If I drag out a stone, I'm really not getting that too much into that white area. So I may I think I'll get rid of that. I don't like the way that looks. I think I will go ahead and line those stones up. And what I will do, I think, is I will just go ahead and line these stones up. So I'm going to shift and grab these stones right here in this row. And I'm going to raise them up a little bit. And I missed a few. Okay, but I'm just going to raise those up to this line. Okay. And then I'm going to see what happens when I equal space, and I'll have to do it for every single run, but let's see what happens if we equal space those. Okay. Let's see. Mm. Oh, I might have put those too high because now the alignment is off. You see how now I've kind of shifted the alignment here because I raised those stones up. So maybe what I need to do, I probably need to bring them back down. I need to bring them back down because I don't want it to look too much out of place, right? So I bring those back down and add one, see if I can add, will one stone fit here? Is that too tight? Hmm. This is getting a little wonky. Okay, let me see. Let me see what I want to do. All right, let's try this row right here. Let's see if we can equal space this row. So I'm just going to select all of the stones. And again, I'm holding down my shift key as I do this. And if I select this entire row and equal space them horizontally, then let's go ahead and equal space them vertically and get them all back lined up. Let's see what happens if we do that with the row above it. See, now something. Okay, so there we go. Okay. And then this right in here, let's see. This has gotten off a little bit. Let's see if we can tighten this up a little. Let's see. I'm going to, I'm just going to move that just a little bit. Okay. This still looks a little tight in here to me. Let's see if I move this out, move this down into that space, but then equal space these stones. Okay. And then I'm going to take a stone out of here and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to equal space these stones. Mm, let's see. It does make this line not look as tight as the others. So let me go back and do an undo, undo, put that stone back, then undo. And put this stone back. But what I'm gonna do, zoom in just a little bit so I can see what I got going on over here. I think I'm gonna raise that just up just a little bit I don't think you can notice, you will be able to notice it, but maybe I can just create a little bit of extra space in between those. Yeah. Okay. I think that does it. I think that's what we're gonna do, although I'm looking at this row right here and I can see that that's a little off. So I'm just gonna come in here and see if I can straighten that out just a little bit. There we go. And I think the one above it probably has to do the same thing. Just double check. Okay. And same thing over here. Same thing over here. We're just lining up these stones. All right, and zoom out. And I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to move my graphic out of the way. Let me just, one more time, let me just double check and look. I'm going to move, let's see. I think I'm going to move this in just a little bit. Yeah. Okay, and zoom back out. And move the graphic out of the way. Drag a box around everything. Right click, group, and then make compound path. And like I said, the color goes away. And I'm just going to fill it back in just so that I can see it. And it was purple. And now we are done. We have both of our designs. Again, I don't need that. Okay. I have my 13-inch design for my 2XL and larger shirts with the rhinestone overlay. And I have my 10-inch design for my small, medium, large with my rhinestone overlay. And that is how you can remove parts of your design so that you can create DTFs with the internal space removed so that you can add your rhinestones. So again, I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. If you have questions, please leave them for me in the comments. I try to answer all of your questions. And again, thank you so much for sticking it out with me tonight. And I will come back with another one of my workflows soon. Thanks again. Bye.